Hey guys, it's Kyle with Green Apple DIY. Today we're going to be fixing a slat on an antique bench. Now my friend Johnny is the customer here, and he sent me a picture of the bench. So as you can see, it's a very light wood, very thin slat, so you can see why they would break. Here's the slat in real life. It looks like we're working with about a 1 foot long piece of very light wood. Now he did try to repair it himself. It looks like maybe he used a polyurethane glue because it's like a really hard foam. So we're going to be gluing this back together and supporting it. And then to support it from the back side, we're going to be using a thin piece of poplar. And I'll go ahead and do a time lapse of cutting that out, cutting that shape out, attaching it, and doing the whole process, and then we'll talk about it after. So I did mess up the time-lapse process, but we got it glued up. I went ahead and put 2 clamps on the surface itself to actually clamp it downward, and then 1 clamp just to kind of draw it together. And the most important part, of course, is the top part. We don't want to mess up the antique finish any more than we absolutely have to. So I went ahead and cleaned it up a lot with the water sprayer and just a rag. We got our piece cut out here, so I kind of shaped it like a guitar rib because that's what I do by trade, is violins and guitars. And we used Gorilla wood glue, which is of course incredibly strong, as it says right on the bottle. So I know for sure that's going to work. So we'll go ahead and wait for this to dry, and then we'll be attaching this piece here. Now, one thing to notice is that when you carve from certain angles, certain directions I should say, it's not as smooth. So like carving this direction, you see I'm getting a lot of chip out. It seems like the direction of the grain is going this way. So you don't want that, so flip it around if you start experiencing that. You see that is way smoother. You're not getting any of that chip out. So this is kind of the profile you want, because you're not going to be able to see the support bar from the top of the bench if you look down. So it's just the right depth. So now we just need to figure out how to attach this to this. Okay, so what I ended up doing was putting a pretty copious amount of glue on there, and then the brace, and so the glue is going to hold it, but I did go ahead and do 23 gauge micro pin nails. Now these nails, I don't know how well they're turning up on the camera. How's that looking? You able to see that? They're very small nails. They're about the size of a guitar string. And what's nice about that is if you end up going through the surface, it doesn't make a giant hole. It's easy to patch. It's really good for detail work, trim work, stuff like that. Comes in clips that look like this. So they're a little long. What I had to do was just make sure I go in at an angle so that they don't blow through the surface. So once that dries, the glue is going to do all the heavy lifting, and those pins are just going to keep it from moving. So that does it for the repair of this so far. We got it clamped up. We got the, I went ahead and clipped and filed down the micro pin nails. So a little bit more cleanup work. I'm gonna let it dry. And then the surface of this, you can kind of see, it's kind of like an antique amber shellac. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna mix up, like what I use on violins is basically a shellac that's alcohol, a lot of heavy alcohol distillates. So I'll go ahead and wipe it down with that. You won't really be able to see the crack too badly, and then I'll get it back to the customer. I might even let him borrow my 23 gauge nail so he can shoot those on there without really seeing it. That's it for this repair. If you have any questions, leave a comment in the box, and I will talk to you later.